Okay, I can't believe that it's been 2 whole years since I talked about Harrison Ingram. We did 2 videos. We talked about him during live streams back then as well. And every critique that I had, I'm ecstatic because he corrected all of it.
I want some rest. Are we having fun yet?
All right, so I didn't find it necessary to go live during the second round. I mean, because I didn't come home until after it was finished. I mean, why the heck did they have it so early? But I definitely wanted to at least tell you my overall thoughts about Harrison Ingram, Nunez, and then, you know, we can look at some interviews and we can just go one by one and go down the gauntlet. Now, let me go ahead and bring this up, okay, before I forget. Please go subscribe to Spurs Invasion. I have the link below in this video's description right underneath, okay? Just go subscribe to it if you're curious on what this channel is. It is a second channel in which I'm going to be uploading only scripted, edited content, okay? So I have one that's up already, and I'm actually pretty proud of it because one thing I said in it is that the Spurs desperately needed desperately needed a wing defender, and I brought up Stephon Castle, and I'm glad that we were able to make that happen. I also brought up Ron Holland, but he was gone before the 8th pick, so what do you do? But yeah, guys, please go support that channel. And I already finished 2 more scripts, and I'm going to be working on a video this weekend. So thanks for all the love for those who have already subscribed and those who are planning to subscribe. All right, so where should we start, man? I guess we'll go ahead and start with Juan Nunez because he's the player that I know the least about. We'll take a look at this interview. But if you're curious on what type of player he is, he's basically the best pick and roll player in the draft. Now, what's really funny, and I'm being transparent here, okay? There's plenty of players that I did look into. He was one where I glossed over, but I didn't watch any games of his at all. But my boy Swish Hill, and you know Swish Hill is a big friend of the channel and my best friend in real life. He actually told me about him way long ago. It was when all of the Topage hype was at an all-time high for San Antonio Spurs fans, and he sent me this guy, Nunez, and he was like, dude, I'll tell you right now, I think Nunez will end up being a better player than Topage, and you can get him in the second round. So big shout out to Swish Hill, all right? He knows his stuff. But if you just want to know some of his stats, 10.4 points per game, 1.9 steals per game. This is the Euro Cup league, that is. As far as total rebounds, nearly 4. Let's see here. Free throw percentage. Got to work on that, my boy. Got to work on that. But 3-point percentage, 36%, not too bad. 50% field goal percentage, and this was in the course of 14 games. Like I said, I'm being transparent here. I have not watched him play a lot, only highlights, so I don't think that that's a good indication of the type of player that he is. But from what I've seen, very crafty, very creative passer, very high basketball IQ, super young. Defense isn't the best, but hey, he can give you some steals here and there, as it seems. And he's 6'4" in height, if you're curious. So, and now I guess the big question now is, that's not the right thing I want to click on. I guess the big question right now is, what are the San Antonio Spurs going to do? Is he a draft and stash, or is he someone that's going to contribute immediately? Well, Brian Wright has already said that is to be determined, and they're going to sit back and watch him during the Olympics, and they're just looking forward to that. So we have no idea right now, but at the very least, we do know he's a very talented player, and he's going to take it's going to take some work, right? Very young. I think he's only 18 years old. But let's go ahead and take a look at what he had to say here.
Explain us in what extent your move from Real Madrid to Ulm help you to improve your game and to play now in the NBA?
For me, it was really important to get minutes.
Oh, no, you guys probably can't hear that. Hold on, let me turn it up a little bit. I can hear it, but I know it might be hard for you. All right, let's try it again.
To get repetitions, to get experience in Europe, and that's what Ulm gave to me. A lot of minutes, a lot of experience, a lot of confidence, and I'm really thankful for them because that's a big reason why I'm here today.
What do you see there?
I see the
Do you remember that?
I see that he's way taller than me. Yeah.
Did he show him a picture of Wemby? I guess he showed him a picture of Wemby.
It was a nice experience. I remember in Italy 5 years ago when we played a European final under 16. And
by the way, I think he's talking about Wemby. He's definitely talking about Wemby. By the way, let me go ahead and bring this up right off the bat. And I think this is something that's very important that we should keep in mind. I am a firm believer of this, okay? It has not been publicly confirmed at all, but I truly do believe this. I bet you Wemby had a say-so in a lot of what the San Antonio Spurs did, right? The fact that Wemby was on the phone with Stephon Castle right after he was drafted, the fact that he has connections to Nunez, I just have a hard time believing Wemby wasn't directly involved in the picks that the Spurs made, right? I have a hard time believing. Now, was he the final say? Probably not, but I will be hard pressed to believe otherwise.
it was great. It was great. They showed me that picture before, and it's a funny one. Yeah.
What are your feelings right now? You're gonna play with him? You're gonna play with this franchise? Like, what do you think about that?
What do you think about playing with the San Antonio Spurs? What do you ask?
I don't know. Right now, I'm just trying to enjoy the moment. This only happens once in life, and let's see what happens. But I'm really excited to have come to this organization, which I think it's similar to my identity.
He basically doesn't know if he's going to be on the roster right now, if he's going to be a two-way player, or on a two-way contract, that is, or if he's going to play overseas for a season or two.
How could you describe your game to someone who doesn't know you?
I think I'm a creative player. I like to make my teammates better, to get near the rim and make the right decision, and yeah, that's me.
And be drafted by the Spurs is a surprise for you or not really?
Well, it's a nice moment. I don't know if I would call it a surprise, but it's a really nice moment. It's the franchise where I wanted to go because I think it's where I can fit the most, and that we share similar, as I said, identity. So I'm really happy, really happy to be a Spur.
All right. So yeah, definitely fits. I mean, it's a position of need. We have to just kind of wait and see what comes out of it. But him as a player, man, he is very creative when it pertains to passing the basketball. Great off the pick and roll, and at the very least, you know, I can see him down the line being a very effective backup point guard if need be. But right now, I'm happy with them. You know, I'm like I said, I don't want to lie to you guys and be like, oh yeah, I watched plenty. I haven't. But all I know is my boy Swish Hill loves him. Loved him way before the draft, and I do trust his judgment on things quite a bit. So yeah, I think it was a pretty solid decision from the San Antonio Spurs, and I will be very shocked if Wemby didn't have a say-so in grabbing this player. Now, one player that I do know a little bit more about, okay, is this man right here, Harrison Ingram. And this is what's messing me up right now, right? Because I've seen some people ask if he's so good, then why was he in the second round? And I'll be real, I don't really know, but I have a theory. So this is not a strong draft by any means, right? But when you have a draft that's not that strong, teams are going to be, you know, guys like this that you already know what he is. Ceiling, I don't know how high it actually is, right? But you know he's pretty established in what he is. Teams are going to try to take guys that might have more potential, that aren't as good but might have more potential, or you're going to gamble a little bit more because it's just not a strong draft, right? I mean, what do you have to lose? But I think one thing with Ingram that's strange is back when we talked about him 2 years ago, one thing that I brought up was his three-point percentage. I was like, man, I mean, 31 isn't good. And looking at his free throw percentage, that's not good either. And it's not like that's improved that much. But back then it was like, okay, he still has to come into his body. But if that were to happen, if he becomes stronger, if he's able to even improve his defense a little bit more, if he's able to improve his three-point shooting a little bit more, he could be something serious. But back then, what type of player he was then versus the player that he showed with UNC is completely different. My comparison for him when he was at Stanford was something close to maybe like a Tyreek Evans, Kyle Anderson type, where, you know, he's a point forward essentially, right? But at UNC, that is not necessarily what he was. So I am a UNC fan. If you guys didn't know, I'm new to the fandom, but I am a UNC fan. And one thing that I've noticed was what he was in Stanford completely changed when he went to UNC. I think that not only they helped develop him a little bit better, as you can see, his 3-point percentage jumping from a 32 to a 38.5, which is insane. But I think the bigger difference here is that he was not necessarily playing as a point forward. At times he did at UNC, but that was his main role with Stanford. So I think maybe teams saw it as when he was at Stanford, he just wasn't ready, right? Like he didn't have the 3-point percentage where he needed it to be. He didn't come into his body yet. He was a little slow, you know, laterally he was a little slow. He's never been the greatest athlete in the world or anything like that. He doesn't jump out of the gym, but I think that was what was holding him back. But then once he got to UNC, he wasn't necessarily able to show the bag that he truly does have. And at UNC, he played more of an off-ball 3-point shooter, you know, defensive hustle guy. And at times, like I said, he showed that passing versatility, but that was not his role. And you can even see it with the statistics, the big switches here, where his assists went from almost 4 to 2. His rebounding, you can see that changed. It went from 5.8 to nearly 9. So yeah, you can see that there was a huge difference. But his field goal percentage is still not the best. He's still going to have to work on finishing a little bit better at the rim, having a more in-between game, because he's not super quick, so he has a really hard time creating his own space. But here's the thing, okay? Here's the brilliant thing. Before we start looking into all of these interviews, or I brought up quite a few different things. Before we look at that, I do want to say this about him. I think, and this is going to be very mean, I think some people are going to take issue with it. One person in particular that's always in chat, I know she's going to have an issue with this. But one thing I can say is I think that he will be a really good replacement for Keldon Johnson, because I think that his basketball IQ is a little bit better, much better. I'm sorry. His defense is definitely there. He can play as a catch and shoot three-pointer. A three-point player. If you want him to be a point forward at times, he's capable of doing it. But most importantly, he has high basketball IQ, plays tough. Fans are going to love him immediately. And I think that he is a perfect backup small forward. Spurs still have some needs, okay? We need a backup center with some defense. We need a 3-and-D small forward that can start. I don't think that that's what Ingram will be. I think he'll be more so a backup a small forward there, but I think he is perfect. And if the Spurs were to move off of Keldon, this was the perfect type of player to add to this roster. And another thing too is I think another reason why he might have landed a little bit late as well is he's a little older, but that's okay. You know, you want these players that are a little bit much more mature, and that you don't have to sit back and work on his game tirelessly. I mean, you're going to work on his game, but you know, he's going to come into the league like he should be there. You know, it's not going to have the bright lights on him like a lot of younger players might have. So I'm really excited about Ingram as a player. I think he has a lot in his bag, and I think because his role changed so drastically, that might have hurt his stock as well. Maybe teams weren't necessarily sure what he is, but just letting you guys know, my evaluation of him before was you need 3-point shooting, you need to gain a few pounds, you need to become better laterally, and I think he improved all of that. But you know, him changing his role from a primary, you know, point forward into what he was with UNC, that might have hurt a little bit. But he is a baller. I really like him. He plays really hard. And I can see him being a really winning player. He's a winning player for the Spurs. All right, let's go ahead and take a look, okay? And if you're not bought on any of that, you don't care about any of that, well, listen to him talk, okay? He sounds just like Tim Duncan.
What's your favorite musical artist?
Ooh, Rihanna.
What's your dream vacation destination?
Bora Bora.
Who's your first celebrity crush?
Mila Kunis.
Do aliens
Mila Kunis. I think mine was Alicia Keys. Mila Kunis, huh? Maybe it was Mariah Carey.
exist?
I think so.
And other than basketball, what would you say you're the best at?
Chess.
Who's your favorite musical artist?
Ooh, Rihanna.
What's your dream
His favorite musical artist was Rihanna. I missed that part before. All right, that's a nothing interview. Here's some highlights. You can kind of see his hustling mentality. Drastically improved his shot. Like I said, where he's going to struggle, really, being honest, and there's that passing ability from, Stanford when he was a point forward, so he definitely has it in his bag. Here's his passing ability again. I mean, that's just beautiful. I mean, let's not get in trouble. That's just beautiful right there. Look how quick he found. That was just beautiful right there. Here you go, showing that basketball IQ a little bit more to Backhot, sorry. Here it is again, that basketball IQ. Beautiful. Yeah, so he has a lot in his bag, and I think that, unfortunately, I don't think that was shown a lot. And he's gotten way bigger. Maybe I should bring up a photo of what he looked like before versus now, because he definitely came into his body, because that was one thing I was worried about. But good for him, going to the draft combine, everyone telling him what he needed to work on, and him coming out and working on it. Three-pointer. Bang. All right, and let's see here. So here's an interview. This was pre-draft workout with the Portland Trailblazers. And if you didn't believe me that he sounds like Tim Duncan, you're going to believe me now.
Of it, the intensity of the workout.
I mean, there's a lot of energy in this workout. I knew these guys before, so, we were friends, and it was competitive. We played hard. I thought I did a good job. I dove on the floor one time. I was hitting open shots, finding my open teammates, finishing at the rim, and we were winning. So it was fun.
How would you describe your game to someone? If you were going to make a case to draft you, what would you say you do well, and kind of what do you bring to the team?
He better say versatility. Say exactly what I said.
I would say my adaptability is the number one thing.
Adaptability.
I feel like any role you put me in, I can be excelling, whether it's a three-point shooter, defender, rebounder, creator, pass up, post, on the bench clapping. Whatever you want, I feel like I'll do.
Guys, I'm trying not to geek. I'm trying my best not to geek, but I need to emphasize this. He is a perfect fit for the Spurs. This draft was a 10 out of 10. Perfect fit for the San Antonio Spurs. I don't even think we need to second guess that. Like I said, he could potentially come off the bench, be a 3-and-D, be a versatile point forward, whatever. Like he said, whatever you need him to be, he can be that. But the thing that I care about the most, and this is all I would need, can you be a 3-and-D player, and can you have high basketball IQ, make the right passes? And that's what he is, and that's what the Spurs have been lacking. Players that make the right passes.
Do to the highest level. I'm a good locker room guy, and I feel like you just can't really go wrong taking me.
What kind of feedback have you received in terms of what you need to work on the most?
Mostly for me, it's just getting more athletic. Is the first thing. Is lateral quickness, speed.
I didn't pre-watch. I did not pre-watch. All right, yep, that was my critique 2 years ago. All right, so he needed lateral quickness. Please say three-point shooting.
And really just guarding 1 through 5 and proving that you can guard 1 through 5 and hit open shots at a consistent level.
How much
hit shots at a consistent level? That counts.
Homework have you done on the Blazers, and what kind of fit do you think you would be here?
I think I'll be good. It's a young team, up-and-coming team. They got Scoot, they got Shaden, they got Anthony, they got DeAndre Ayton, a lot of good players. And, for me, it's about just one team giving me opportunity. I feel like it doesn't really matter where I go. I could care less. If you want to draft me, please do. You know what I mean?
How much do you pay attention to that, especially a year like this where there's no consensus around the draft? How much do you look at the mock draft and where different places have you going and different people have you going? Is that something you actually look at and pay attention to, or is that something you kind of try to tune out?
I mean, any player is lying if they say they don't look at it every once in a while. I mean, we see it. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Like, I see it. I mean, as much as I don't really care about it, but I see it. And I look at it and I watch it. But at the end of the day, I know what my game is. And if you look at any draft, just because someone goes ahead of you or someone is behind you doesn't mean they're a better or worse player than you. I mean, that's just maybe how you're viewed. And, for me, it's just about taking my path. And I'm going to work as hard as I can. And whatever happens is going to happen. And I'm going to try to get there.
Do you feel like the fact that you're a little bit older and you've got a little bit more experience, that kind of helps you in this kind of process, understanding what teams are looking for, because you've been in different roles in North Carolina?
I said that. I think that not only hurt him, but that also helps him coming to the Spurs, because we want to win as soon as possible, but we also don't want to skip steps, and that's a really tough. A tough way to gauge how you're gonna do that, right? But this is a way of doing that. You get a rookie that's already pretty established, or not established, but pretty experienced, mature enough where you don't have to worry about any of those aspects of the person, and yeah, that's how you do it. You do it in the second round.
As you progress through your career?
100%. I mean, going back to my freshman year, I tested the waters too, and I just didn't feel like I was ready mentally or physically, and I wanted to go back. And now I feel more than ready physically, mentally, to be on my own, to be in a pro. I know it's a business, it's professional. He's grown man. I feel like my body's ready, my mind's ready, and
he grew into his body.
For me, it was really different going from Stanford all the way to North Carolina. I mean, the roles were so much different.
Yes, I said all of this.
I feel like it gave me a lot of confidence knowing that I can adapt to a role really, really quickly.
Yes.
Thank you.
I guess that was it. Yeah, good stuff, man. Good stuff. Great stuff. So yeah, overall, guys, I think that this was the perfect fit. I'm not gonna sit here and act like, oh yeah, I know exactly who Juan Nunez is, but I do believe in the franchise, and I believe in my good friend Switch Hill saying how good he is, and he was really excited about him like a long time ago. So I'll sit on that, I'll look into him a little bit more, but right now I'll tell you this with all the confidence in the world. This man right here, Harrison Ingram, he's going to be a fan favorite. The fans are going to absolutely love him. Okay. He brings so much, to a team. He will fit right in. I'm not going to sit here and say he's going to be a star or superstar or anything like that. I don't think that that's the case, right? But I do think that with his basketball IQ, with his experience, with him improving his three-point shot to that degree, he's going to look really good with the Spurs, and his defense improving as well. So this is nothing short of hard work. He's a good kid, very smart. This was perfect case scenario for the Spurs in the second round, and you guys, we got to get ready. Okay, this is going to be nice. But anyways, I will give it to you guys later, man. That's all I really have for this video. Please go subscribe to Spurs Invasion. We'll do a video, or soon I'll be doing a video on Stephon Castle, and then I'll be doing one on Jeremy Sohan, unless something else comes up and we need to hit on that. But as it stands right now, those are my plans. So yeah, go check out the channel, man. All right, I'll give it to you guys later. Till next time. Bye.